going to record today just for a little bit because what I want to do is we're going to get started on our second informative speech, okay? And I wanted to review with you the 6 C's of informative speaking, good informative speaking. Does anybody remember what they are?
Complete.
Yes? That's one of them. Concise, yes.
Confidence, isn't that one?
Okay, so complete, concise, clear. Did somebody say clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, clear. All right, we need 3 more.
Confidence.
Competent. I think they say competent and not competence. Clear, concise, complete. Oh no, competent is not one of them. I always think that it is too. It's not. Oh, shoot. Okay. So we said clear, concise, complete. They're also correct, concrete. I don't know what's the 6th one. I just forgot. Connect. Connect. Okay. Hey, ladies, folks, listen up here. I didn't say guys too because Kate and you weren't talking. All right. So it's be clear, be concrete, concise, complete, correct, and connect. Okay. So what does all of that mean? Being clear, of course, it says that you know that your listeners will understand what you're saying. Okay. So we want to be effective in our language choice, but we don't want to go overboard to the point where our audience doesn't understand what we're saying. Okay. So make sure that how you put things together that the audience will understand it. And that could be also thinking about not using slang terms, or if you are, you incorporate them into your speech and maybe you have to explain what they are. Okay. Like last week, I asked you guys after a speech, okay, I'm not sure I know what a snowflake is the way you're using it. Okay. Those kinds of things. You might, think about your audience. Will they know that terminology, or is it something that you could just take a moment to say, hey, for those of you that are older and don't know what this means. Or you could even call us boomers if you want to, although technically I'm a boomer, even though my sister and I never really associated ourselves with that, but we're like at the very end of it. So anyway, something like that. So make sure that you're clear. Be concise, okay? You want to make sure that your words count. We've talked about this in effective language. Don't go overboard and just pad it with words that aren't necessary. Keep it to the point. Tell us what you need to say without, be clear and specific, okay? Be complete. Now, it says you can't be complete in the sense of covering all the possible material because, most subjects, there are so many things you could talk about, but create a sense of completion in the minds of your listeners. So it sounds like you've covered make sure that for your speech that you've covered everything that you want to and that your listeners will feel like you've covered everything you needed to. Okay, that's what we mean by the complete part. Let's see, correct. So being accurate, make sure that the information, check your sources. check what, if you find a piece of information and one source is the only place that's saying this and everything else is saying the opposite, it's probably not true. All right? Because the more sources that are saying the same thing and confirming the one that you found, then the more accurate it's going to be. If you can't find it anywhere else, and in fact everything else says the opposite, it's probably not true. Okay? Be concrete. This is talking about, it says focus on the immediate and the actual instead of talking in abstracts. Talk in terms of people, places, and things. Individual cases are far more interesting than generalities. So it's about the details, guys. That's what we're talking about here. Give us details. Tell us stories. Tell us exactly, give us the examples that are concrete examples. That's what we mean by that. And then connect. This requires you to think about the people you're going to be speaking to, which is right here. That's easy. And being able to connect with your audience. Okay? What is going to interest them? Or if it's something that you're not sure if it will, how do you connect it to them? How do you make them want to listen? How do you make them understand, hey, this is important to us, or it could be important to us, or interesting to us, okay? So that's what the 6 C's are. Just wanted to make sure we reviewed those, okay? I'm going to take those off of here. And what I'm going to do next, because I'm going to give you your next speech assignment, and I do want you to have your outlines done by the end of class next Friday, okay? So I want to go over that assignment because it's a little bit, there are a couple things I'm going to ask you to include that I didn't before. So we are in a new module now. It just says informative speaking 2, okay? And this says informative speech 2 is the assignment, okay? So you're going to write a 3 to 5 minute speech. Again, that's pretty typical. Your requirements, your speech must include at least one each of the following, okay? This is what I'm asking you to add. I want you to have at least one quotation, at least one story, also known as an anecdote, and at least one statistic, okay? So you need at least one of each of these 3 things. You can have more than one, but at least one of each. So at least one quote, one story, and one statistic, okay? Document your sources, write an outline, and submit it here by February 5th. I included the template right here for you too. It's in a doc, not a, can you open up docs on your?
Yeah, but I opened it, like I went to files and I double clicked on it and opened it as a Word document and then converted it to a doc because it won't open.
Okay. Okay. All right. Did you all hear? Is it easier if I put it in as a PDF to convert it to a Google Doc, or does either way you have to convert it? Okay.
I'd rather a Google Doc. Yeah. Because like with the PDF, if you like try copying and pasting it into like a Google Doc, like
the PDF.
doubles all up.
So this is better to do it this way. Okay. All right. Okay. So guys, questions about this particular speech. Now, if you want to, for this speech, for many of your speeches here on out, if you want to include slides and things, you can, but it's not a requirement, okay? But you are allowed, if you wanted to, if you've got pictures of things or graphs or charts or something that you want to include in this speech, or when we do your next persuasive speech, you are free to do that if you want, but it is not part of your requirements, okay? But this is part of your requirement, a quotation, a story, and a statistic. At least one of each. Okay? Any questions? All right, I am going to let you guys start figuring out what you want to do for this informative speech and start working on it, okay? And I am going to give you class time. I'll give you class time probably tomorrow and Friday to work on it, and then there are a couple of other things we'll be taking a look at quickly, but you'll have class time the next several days. Not always the whole class period, but at least parts of it, okay? Questions? Questions from you guys?